obviously now with the business clubs, we've looked at condition scoring in ewes, we looked at tupping and scanning. So really from scanning onwards, one of the main focuses is actually looking at numbers of lambs reared. See, lamb loss or losses at lambing time has probably the biggest impact on that. So what I've been discussing with the various groups is actually trying to record lamb losses, which I know can actually sound a bit depressing, but it actually is a really, really useful way of getting to grips with what's going on in the flock. And again, it's all about trying to work out the cost benefit, because you know, you could have all sorts of 24-hour supervision and all sorts of things to actually maximise lamb survival. But really, it's knowing what is a cost effective and actually what are your losses and what's causing them. So and there's lots of different ways of doing that. It can be, so I know some people are using a blackboard, notice board up in the shed. Other people use a notebook. I've got some recording sheets that I quite like to have in the house. At the end of the day, I just make a note of what's happened. It's also really important to record ewe losses as well, because I know people tend to forget about that. You know, you lose a ewe pre-lambing and that's it, you think you've lost a ewe, but actually she's either carrying 1, 2, 3 or more lambs in her. So it's really important to make a note of that as well. So one of the sort of sheets I like to work with is basically a record of any ewes you lose pre-lambing. Obviously, try not to lose any at all, but this does happen. So the kind of things I'm looking at really is things like prolapse, twin lamb disease, whether you dies during lambing or after lambing. And from that, really, at the end of the season, I can look through that. And especially, it's good if you can look through that with your vet to try and identify, are there any patterns, are there any trends which you can then look to address for next year, really. And that could be to do with feeding, it could be health, it could be management or hygiene. There's all sorts of different things it could be, but really having that information to hand is the first step. And then when it comes to lambs, again, there's lots of different ways of recording lamb losses. You can record, you write down what it is each time, but what I tend to do is just have a sort of list of what I think are the main issues on a particular farm, and then it's just a tick box. So it's quite easy to do. This is just a sheet I've laminated. Basically, it's the date if you want to record the ewe number, and then it's looking at, is it due to the ewe dying, was it ewe prolapse, and that's led to lamb death. Otherwise then we're looking at, is the lamb stillborn, did it die during lambing, so is it a birthing issue, has it been born small or weak and not survived. Again, that's something we can look back on with nutrition. Starvation, watery mouth is a very important one to record. That's an indicator of hygiene, but more than that, it's nutrition as well. So if you can get the nutrition right, get good amounts of colostrum, and then get your hygiene right at lambing, really watery mouth should be minimised. So the watery mouth is a really, really good indicator of actually what's going on with regards to feeding and also hygiene. Other infections, any deformities, accidents, or any comments like that. So again, it just builds up a picture. So if you are seeing a consistent trend, you can go to your vet and say, this is what I'm having. It may be that different antibiotics are required or different protocol, and you can then plan ahead for the next season, really. And even sometimes within a lambing season, if you've got an issue coming through, you can then go and seek expert advice and make some changes before it's too late, really. So one of the things I've done through the business clubs is we've done a sort of a scanning result lamb loss calculator, and that will be up on the Farm and Connect website. And from that, people can put in how many, their scanning results, how many singles, twins, triplets, if they've had any. And then we can look then at setting targets for lamb survival. So before lambing or even after lambing, you can set your targets and you can compare that with actuals as well. And then you start benchmarking your performance. And again, that's trying to pick up things. And also losses after lambing as well. Most losses do occur at lambing or even before lambing if the ewe dies. But it's things like, are you getting clostridial diseases after lambing, something like coccidiosis or nematodirus, those kinds of things. If you again start building a pattern and you can take that to your vet, that's probably the best thing you can do, really, to improve performance in the flock. So so recording lamb losses at lambing time is vital, also keeping a note of what's going on through the season, and then working out how many lambs you've weaned and comparing that against your targets. And from that you can then make informed decisions, really, about how to manage the flock, both feeding, health-wise and management as well. And again, it comes down to that cost-benefit analysis.